plumberparts.co.uk.
Ask The Plumber.
That should clear all the poo and crud away. Whoever said plumbing wasn't glamorous. Oh, very nice indeed. Is that the champagne from Pomeranian? Wow. Anyway, as you probably know, earlier on today, we did a lovely thing on our Twitter and our Facebook accounts where only people who asked on Twitter or on Facebook will get their question on Ask the Plumber answered today. Basically, the premise of it is that you had to answer the questions before 12 o'clock. Here are your questions and here are my answers. Let's do the Twitter questions first. Hold tight. So first up we had ABJR who asked us, Plumber Parts, what kind of adjustable wrench do you use? Well, I'm not the sort of guy who's going to go out there and start trying to promote another firm. I use Backhoe wrenches. They're expensive, but they are good. They don't tend to lock up. At the end of the day, it's the lubricant you use to look after your wrench, not the lack of lubricant. That's it. Right, and then we had Fane Power Tools UK. I do actually know the guys at Fane. They asked, how are you getting on with your Fane tools? Hashtag Ask the Plumber. Very well, thank you very much. The 14.4 volt multi-tool is, I don't know how plumbers don't use them. They're amazing. They get you out of so many little problems. They're fantastic. Your impact driver and your drill is really, really, really good. Much more powerful than anyone else's. One thing I would say, it needs a belt clip, because I tend to wear like a carpentry belt when I'm doing work, especially if I'm first fixing ceilings and things like that. Then we had Sentinel. You've probably all heard of Sentinel. Inhibitor people make the X100 and stuff like that. Basically, Plumber Parts installers often ask how they can explain the need for water treatment to their customers. They always ask, why are you putting that in the radiator? And you say, right, well, the inside of a radiator is metal, just steel, and when water gets on steel, as you've probably seen before, it rusts. This prevents that corrosion, okay? It stops sludge build up, it makes your heating system much more efficient. Basically, it's like, if it was blood, I'd say it was the white blood cell of the plumbing world. So there we go, yeah, it kills, yeah. God, I'm happy with that. I might patent that. White blood cell inhibitor. If anyone comes out with that, I'm coming after you. Next up, Matthew, who very, very selfishly calls his Twitter handle is Matt Superstar. Plumber Parts, I've replaced all the white waste under my kitchen sink and they're still leaking. What am I doing wrong? Well, firstly, if it's solvent well that you're using, which I don't think you are, you're probably not using enough glue. Glue is cheap, leaks are expensive, okay? So remember that. If you're using compression fittings, which I say you probably are on PVC, especially if you're, a DIY or something like that, it's a lot easier. Make sure that your fitting is nicely made up first. What I always do is if I have the compression fitting, I have the pipe go into it, I make sure that I can see my black rubber and the red or blue plastic overing on the back that goes in. I make sure that they're all pretty much up and made, and make the joint up nice and properly. Push your seal in first and then tighten it up with your compression fitting afterwards if you've got enough room behind the nut to do it. So that's the main thing. Make sure it's all built up nicely. If you've got any more problems yourself, Matt, okay, you can email us directly, info@plumberparts.co.uk. So do that and we'll answer your question, especially if you say, oh, it's Matt here from Twitter. I'll be like, all right, Matt, oh, great, yeah, I feel like we're friends. We could. Anyway, James Hazy. James, you've sent us loads of stuff over the years. Big respect for you. Matt, you've got a lot of work to do. Plumber Parts, what's the purpose of a sacrificial anode and where to use one? Cheers, Jim. They stop the corrosion of ferrous metals inside like tanks and stuff like that. So that's what sacrificial anodes do. They slow down that process. They're almost like an inhibitor for hot water, where obviously you can't drink inhibitor. Sentinel will tell you that. So that's what it's there for. Russ Burke. Plumber Parts, I've discovered 2 of my radiators are incorrectly fitted. On 2 radiators, the lock shield valve side is getting hot first. Problem. Now, they might not be wrongly fitted. Look on the side of your thermostatic radiator valve and see if that's got an arrow either pointing at each other or pointing away from each other. If it's got 2 arrows doing that, then that means you've got a universal TRV, which means the flow can go in or out at either end. So they might not be the wrong way round. So look at that first. I mean, the problem could well be is that they are the wrong way round. So look into that. Generally, that's just how it is. Someone just put them in the wrong way around, probably an apprentice. Richard Sobey, which is the opposite to what I am on a Saturday. Plumber Parts, okay, can you add inhibitor before you've refilled a pressurised system, or should it be the last thing you do? From Richard. And then Richard puts at the end a kiss, which I like. The more of you that send kisses to us at the end of one of our questions, the more likely you're going to get a reply. Don't worry, the missus is up the garden, she won't hear. Basically, if you've done any work to a heating system, doesn't matter how smaller it is or anything, fill up the system and fully pressurise it, okay? Because you don't want to do the work, put the inhibitor in, fill up the system, fully pressurise it, find you've got a leak, and then have to drain it out and lose all that inhibitor that you've used. So always install the inhibitor at the very last moment where you know you don't have any leaks, okay? Right, that's it for the selected few Twitter questions we had. Now let's move on to our Facebook page. Firstly, we had Ramesh Ahmadi, and I hope I've pronounced your name right, Ramesh. You just said, I am a special plumber in Afghanistan. It's not really a question, but at the same time, I think it's kind of cool. So thanks for sending me that, Ramesh, and keep it up. Keep up the good work. We've got Alan Jebb on his mobile. They said, I recently drained the system to do some repairs. I need to do some more, but it'll probably be 3 months. Would you put inhibitor in now and again after the next drain down, or wait till next time? Mate, I wouldn't wait. Shove that inhibitor in. In fact, I replied to you straight away. I was that concerned. I said, pop some inhibitor in now, mate, just in case! Exclamation mark. Just to completely reiterate how fraught I was about the situation. Look who's here, the big G, Grumpy Cat. Hi, my name's Mohammed. I've got a hot water tap on my bath at squeaks every time I turn it off. Do you have any advice on how to prevent this squeaking from occurring? George, we have advice. Right. Now just chill out, Cat. Don't growl at me. George, come on, mate. People love you in the world of plumber parts. They think you're a ledge. Oh. Look at that wagging of the tail. Well, anyway, man, the first thing I'd say is the gland is probably tightened up too tight on the top of the tap. That's the small nut, where the shaft of the tap goes down. There's a tiny little gland. Tighten that up and that should stop it squeaking. Also, you could obviously use some WD-40. There you go. Now, let's see what's been flushed down the loo. You've got one chance to get this right. Post in the comments below, or of course you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook by clicking the link somewhere there. And of course also subscribe if you haven't already. In fact, if you haven't subscribed already, you should probably be like upset about that. So anyway, what do you think's been flushed down the loo? Let's have a look now. Oh! It went past pretty quick, I can assure that, but it's kind of reassuring for me because I often pass stuff down that as well, and I'd like to know that they do go away quickly. But it's a round object, it's in lunches, and that's about all I can say, because if I say anything else I'll give it away. So anyway, I look forward to the next video with all you guys, with George, the grumpy tabby cat, and my tragically inept stagehand wife, who can't give me a glass of fake champagne when prompted. But anyway, remember everyone, subscribe, follow, like, kiss each other, enjoy life, and I'll see you in the next video. Hold tight!
Plumberparts.co.uk. Ask The Plumber.